Live from Daytona International Speedway, we welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where tonight we get set to kick off yet another episode of the Beer League, this time kicking off a brand new season. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Little Wemble, bringing you all of the coverage here tonight from start to finish. Austin Edstrom having some technical difficulties behind the scenes. We will get him up and into the action here before too long, don't you worry. So you'll get my lovely voice up here for the time being as we get set to kick off racing action from the World Center of Racing. Boy, it's been a long time coming. We've been waiting for this series to come about for a while, and so glad that it is finally here, and we are ready to rock and roll. It's going to be a long show tonight. 5 heat races is going to be on the docket for us here. Each one 3 laps or 4 minutes apiece. And then, of course, you will have 55 minutes of feature racing with over 40 cars getting set to make the grid. Standing starts still in play, even though we are at Daytona. For those of you that have the avid eye for the road course races and, of course, for the sports car course, you might notice it looks a little bit different. We're not using that traditional sports car layout here at Daytona this weekend. We are using the moto layout here at Daytona, the track that motorcycles continue to race on to this day. So it's going to be shall we say, interesting when that track narrows up to only about a car and a half wide and it becomes impossible to go side by side. We are expecting chaos. We are expecting carnage, and it's going to be putting on a fantastic show for all of you guys here tonight. Qualifying is currently underway as we speak, with multiple drivers trying to put down some last-minute qualifying laps. So since we got a few minutes here in qualifying, let's find one of these drivers to ride on board with you potentially, and we'll be able to show you at least what part of life will look like around the Daytona International Speedway. John Combs going to put himself 8th quick on the board, so a great time there for Combs to put down as he's looking to try to get himself towards the top end of the field. Meanwhile, Blake Gambrill, one of the other drivers, trying to put down a good lap at the buzzer. Currently sits 31st. Lap number 2, will it be an improvement? Answer will be no. Leave now just Adam Jackson in his number 97, approaching the start of that moto layout. Instead of going for that fast left-hand kink, you jam hard on the binders for a 90-degree right-hand turn, and right there, look at how much that racetrack narrows up. That's what I'm talking about when I say it's going to be a very difficult racetrack for these guys to have to navigate here tonight. So that 97 machine going to be having its work cut out for him if he can't get himself up to the top end of the boards. Thankfully, he does still have a heat race that he can get himself in, so there is still very much the possibility, but we'll see what that 97 car is able to do here this time around as he'll work his way towards the back straightaway and up towards the bus stop chicane. Unlike the traditional sports car course, you don't exit just shy of NASCAR Turn 1. You exit middle of the backstretch here on the moto layout at Daytona before jumping hard on the binders for that same bus stop chicane that we're so used to seeing and that we will be seeing this coming weekend in the VSCA Sports Car Championship in the Roar before the 24. So we'll fire out of that bus stop chicane and now into NASCAR 3 and 4. Only 10 seconds on the clock, so he will not get the chance. He's logged that time. Unfortunate news there for Adam Jackson's number 97. He was looking for better luck, and he will not be finding it here in this one. So with that, qualifying's complete. We're ready to go racing for heat race number 1 on the afternoon. Eric Ronenberg puts down the pole time with a 144.711. Josh Freed 1 second off in second. Kyle Smith is third. Jamie Castro fourth. Corey Barrett fifth. Darren Bai in sixth. Blake Gambrill seventh. Stephen Turnbull in 8th, Alex Klenk in 9th, and Graham Jordan will round out the top 10. For the first of 5 heat races tonight, we will be lining it up with 50 cars on the starting grid when we officially get this race underway for the main event. That is how you know this race is going to be beyond wild. Revs start to build. And the beer league is officially underway for the Daytona International Speedway. Ronenberg gets away well as he'll try to send this one down the inside and keep that race lead into turn 1 this time by. A good start all around throughout this field. Looking further back, a bit of side-by-side with the 7 of Corey Barrett along with Jeremy Castro. But they'll get themselves doubled out before too long. So here we are then. Heat number 1 of 5 on the afternoon, and it's going to be a long heat race to boot as Eric Ronenberg trying to work his way up and around with that 0.17. 3 laps or 4 minutes. It'll be one of the two. Diving hard on the binders, and whoa, 1 car off in the background. That would be the 24 of Castro, and he's going to be put side by side with Darren Bai in that 22, and they'll remain side by side for that number 6 spot as they'll look around through in this infield portion of the circuit, approaching turns 6 and 7. We're getting themselves lined up for 8th, and the 22 car going to go around. Darren Bai spun round at the tail end of the 55, going to go off in sympathy. So Steve Turnbull also having problems up at the sharp end of the field. But then the 79 car of Blake Gambro running a little bit wide as well. While the rest of the pack dives it down and in towards that bus stop chicane for the first time this afternoon. Right now, battle on for the 4th spot. Corey Barrett and Alex Klenk trying to duke it out with one another. Now, this is going to be for a starting spot. I'm thinking quite possibly around the 20th to 25th place on the racetrack. Every spot lost or gained in this heat race will equal to 5 positions when you get to the main event. So every spot really, really matters, especially at a track like Daytona where passing can sometimes be a little bit more difficult to come by. See that 013 sizing up and over under pass here as Alexander Klenk trying to get himself with a good launch. Couldn't make the move around coming through turn 1. See what we can do down here into the International Horseshoe. The 549 of Kyle Smith just up the road. As Smith's can keep that 549 up in the 3rd position for now. Currently rounds out the top 10 as the rest of the pack siphons out behind. It's really just this 3-car fight at the moment for the final podium position. That's about all you got here on the racetrack. The 013 looking for the inside, and Klenk going to get the run here on Corey Barrett. Dives for it down into turn 6. Corey Barrett, though, looking like he's going to hang that one high and wide around the outside line. But can we see Klenk get a bit more argy-bargy here as we work further and further into this heat race here tonight? Eric Ronenberg pulling 2 seconds clear just about in this field as getting set to take that white flag this time by. Deep on the brakes will go. Klenk couldn't get to the inside of Corey Barrett as Barrett going to be tucked in line for that number 4 spot at the moment. But look at this. All in the draft is going to be the 013 with a big head of steam coming out of NASCAR. 3 and 4 and back around to the start-finish stretch. White flag is waving. 1 more lap to go in heat race number 1. Pinging off the chip at 160 miles an hour as they'll look to dive on the brakes. Klenk trying to go the long way around, and he's in too hot. Klenk spins it out, and Ronenberg spun out. The 017, the race leader, has crashed it down on turn 1, and he has taken Alex Klenk with him. What's happened here to Ronenberg? As the 017, he's just going to lube it all by himself. Kind of got off camber, swung it wide, and he was going to let the field through, I reckon, and then Klenk just careens into the side of him as he was reversing back up into the runoff area. He's now going to remain going backwards, so he's definitely not going to be looking to take the victory here in this race, in this one, which is why your scoring tower is going to go a little bit wonky here. Josh Freed going to be going with it. Now, Ronenberg going to keep that momentum going and going with a good bit of speed on the backwards train as well. Josh Freed tracking up and wide. He will be looking to be your Heat 1 winner here tonight. Ronenberg will be scored as the heat race winner unofficially when he comes across the start-finish line, but it will not be official, so to speak. So Freed will be looking to work his way out of NASCAR 3 and 4 this time by with no competition effectively. That will put Josh Freed back and into victory lane, at least for this opening heat race. Immediately cranks that car hard into the infield grass, looking back to the fight for 8th between Darren Bai and Blake Gambrill, separated by 0.4 of a second and closing. As we work our way down and out, Freed with the win, Smith 2nd, Barrett 3rd, Castro 4th, Jordan 5th. Darren Bai picks up 6th, Gambrill 7th, Alexander Klenk is into pit road. He'll finish 9th, and then Steve Turnbull will be looking to be the final driver to take the heat win this time by. And then, of course, that will just leave Eric Ronenberg as the lone driver on this field. He'll be down in 10th place after no doubt getting the penalty for his backwards antics over here, cutting all sorts of chicanes this time around. So that's it for heat race number 1, and we're going to swiftly move things on into heat race number 2. Started on the pole for your second heat race. Steve McClendon brings it up alongside Aaron Thacker. Evan Campbell will be alongside Jonathan Lane. Baron Morton and Greg Beckman on row 3. Tanner Klein, Jonathan Lefebvre on row 4. Chris Hannigan will bring up row number 5 on a lonely 9th place down to the tail end of the field. But a fairly exciting heat race in the early going there until they kind of got a bit separated near the end. But good stuff so far from the Beer League. And again, their season opener here at the World Center of Racing. And McClendon going to be looking to be having himself with a solid drive in his 51 cars. He's going to be trying to take this one on an early charge down and into turn 1. In fact, we are now just waiting on the lights to count down, and then we'll get this race fully underway. Green flag's out, and a great launch from Aaron Thacker as he's going to pull alongside with McClendon and try to get the jump down in the turn 1. A bit of 3 wide just in the background as well as we fire it back around and into turn 1 this time by. Look at the 51 car trying to get himself with a great launch as the Great Daytona Beer Run kicks off once more. Evan Campbell spun around, tail end of the field, while the rest of the pack siphoning their way down and into turn number 1 for the first time tonight. So racing action will continue in short order here this time through, as this pack looking very, very clean so far. As we'll get a look back at what happened here to Evan Campbell. This is working out of turn numbers, working out of turn 1, and has he had a bit of a helping hand? He has. He's been spun by the 54, just punted off and wide through the opening corner of the racetrack. Heat race 2 kicking off. You're watching the battle for the heat race lead between Steve McClendon and Aaron Thacker at the moment. The two of them making some good headway over here on the race course as they'll fire it down the round in towards the backstretch chicane. Breaking clear by a second, just from 2nd to 3rd alone. So again, some good moves being made, some good speed being made overall throughout this field thus far, as racing action will continue here from the World Center of Racing. No move will be made for the race lead. We'll check in on the battle for third. Could we see a move made? Baron Morton trying to fend off Chris Hannigan. Hannigan takes that one way to the inside of the racetrack, and he will secure the third position on a great dive down the inside of Baron Morton that time through. Morton thinking about giving the old chrome horn to Hannigan, and Hannigan's going to loop the back end out of the International Horseshoe. So out of turn 3, the Ford car will be facing backwards in the infield grass. Unfortunate there for Hannigan's number 4. And he's not the only one now, as Aaron Thacker goes off the circuit as well to boot. There's been a couple of cars having some moments here. This is what happened to Thacker, diving down into the motor section of the racetrack, and he just looped the back end all by himself on entry. So one car going around on offense and on the entry and one on the exit. And Thacker trying to quickly regain that lost time as he is trying to track up to the back end of Jonathan Lane. Going to be one lap to go, this time by at the stripe. Hannigan continuing to lose more time towards the tail end of the field while you watch this battle for third developing on the second of 3 laps of this heat race. White flag waves. Thacker look at the inside on Lane, and that drive down into turn 1. That's a bold move to make, but he's going to go for it nonetheless. Contact between the two drivers fighting for the podium, and a big walk over the 54. He will Aaron Thacker outbrakes himself down to the opening corner and send Jonathan Lane right back through and into third. Great battling up and down all throughout the field so far. As racing action continues this time around, and off the track will go Aaron Thacker towards the back end of the field. Jonathan Lane swings it way out wide. Tanner Klein and Evan Campbell just behind now, the lone battle on the racetrack. This is all the way back for 6th. Hannigan will be able to pit road. He is going to be down and out in heat race number 2. As, oh boy, swinging a bit wide. Will go Tanner Klein as he outbrakes himself a little bit there into turn 7. Open up the door for Campbell to get the cutback as he dives up towards the inside line, working back up to the bus stop chicane. Dives hard on the brakes in the 71. Going to outbrake the 63 at the stripe. Steve McClendon in the meantime, working it out of turn number 4, well, NASCAR turn 4. And he will be your heat race winner for heat race number 2 on the afternoon. Van Moore to bring home a comfortable second in place. Aaron Thacker hangs on for 3rd, Beckman 4th, Lane 5th. Campbell will be in 6th with Tanner Klein a distant 7th, and then that will just leave Jonathan Lane, who is sitting way down the field, in 8th. Sorry, Jonathan Lefebvre, not Jonathan Lane, my apologies. Lefebvre will be bringing up the rear in the 512. Again, good show there in heat race number 2. We'll move on down swiftly through tonight's program as we'll kick off heat race number 3 now. Lining it up on the starting grid will be Alexander Hammonds to be on the pole. John Combs will be in the number 2 spot. Chris Bright is 3rd. Brooks Clayton 4th. Jordan Babcock 5th. Adam Klein 6th. Morgan Otto 7th. Brian LeBlanc and Shane Cameron will bring up the 9-car heat race, third one of the evening. Just waiting on Brooks Clayton before we can get ourselves back to full racing action. about halfway through our heat races here tonight, or at least we will be when we hit the backstretch in this third heat race. Remember, all cars making it into the main event, so just shy of 50 cars will be starting tonight's opener from Daytona. What a week it will be for Green Flag TV here at Daytona. 3 incredible races. And we still haven't even really hit the main event of the second. Green flag is back in the air. Hammond's shooting off towards turn 1. Oh, the big launch there from the 10 of Chris Bryde. Thought he was about to clean out John Combs. A little bit locked it up towards the rear, but more or less all safe and sound. As we'll send our way back out to the International Horseshoe. There's the lunge, the 9 to the inside of Bryde, and off the track just about will go Jordan Babcock. He swings it way out to the outside line. Chris Bryde and Brooks Clayton side by side for third. They'll be looking to dive hard on the brakes. Always got to keep an eye out for that brake pedal, right? It's going to catch you out if you manage to outbrake yourself a bit too much. It's easy to do in these cars. You put too much brake pressure down, and boy, that wheel does not like it whatsoever. But for the most part, we're looking all safe and sound. Nobody even going off track. This has been a very clean heat race so far. That said, 2.5 laps still left to run of it. Hammonds currently leads the way from Combs, from Clayton, and Clayton heading up the 3-car battle for third. And wow, Bright with a run to the inside, and tell you what, Brooks Clayton did not see that coming. So Clayton's going to slip back into 4th. Brian LeBlanc will be just tucked up behind for 5th. Take a look further down throughout the pack here. We got a big side-by-side battle. Adam Klein trying to fend off Shane Cameron from the outside. Jordan Babcock just up in front of the 6th spot. They'll quickly single file themselves out, but not before Morgan Otto has closed into the fray at the very tail end of this battle pack. Whoa, a big lock up there for the 39. Gets Adam Klein to the inside, but thankfully the track swings back to the left, giving the Babcock's 39 car just enough time to pull clear at the head of this train. Race is chaotic enough as it is with just 9 cars on the racetrack. Can't imagine what a solid 55 are all going to look like as we take a look back up towards the head of the train. Chris Bright, Brooks Clayton, Brian LeBlanc, all still running nose to tail. And all of them about 0.8 of a second, give or take, off of John Combs. Meanwhile, the 39 trying to line up that attack on Adam Klein. Couldn't get there, and Adam Klein will be through as Babcock gives up 6th. And can we see another potential trading of hands as they work their way through the final couple of corners? Final lap begins, this time by swinging out to the outside will be Cameron. Babcock trying to go with him. Cameron gonna have to fight this one the long way around as we dive into turn 1. Well up the road, Brooks Clayton and Brian LeBlanc still remain packed up nose to tail for 4th. Oh, never mind. Brian LeBlanc loops it out of the International Horseshoe, so he'll dump that car out of turn 2. Whoa, and the 39 of Babcock, and he spun around, just trying to get himself sorted at the tail end of this field. Battles are still on. The 30 might try to look to the inside of the 43. We'll take a quick look back and show you what happened here to Babcock. He was already loose on entry. The 43 saw a hole, and the 39 was already going to lose the back end. And I tell you what, Cameron just helped him around. Definitely was not the instigator, though. Whoa! Hello, Morgan Otto sending it on Cameron and almost into the grass. Well, he did get into the grass. Now Brian LeBlanc will get through. So LeBlanc sneaks his way into 6th. Meanwhile, Alexander Hammonds with no competition, rocketing away from this field. 2 seconds clear from John Combs, and with no competition, he will be looking to pick up heat race number 3, be your 3rd heat winner on the season here tonight. Hammonds with the W, Combs in 2nd, Bright 3rd, Clayton will be in 4th. Adam Klein a very distant 5th place after it all fell apart of this big battle towards the tail end on the start of the final lap. Shane Cameron will be in 6th, Brian LeBlanc in 7th, Morgan Otto is in 8th, and then Jordan Babcock, well, he will be in 9th eventually. That's what I have to say to that one. He will be there eventually. It's just taking his time. And I mean really taking his time. Well, if you need to run and get a snack, this might be a good time to do it, because it might be a few seconds yet before we get Jordan Babcock across the line to close out our final heat race.
What the heck did I come back to?
We're waiting on Jordan Babcock to finish heat race number 3 for us.
Oh.
That's what we're waiting on. Welcome, Austin, by the way. It's been an interesting first few heat races, and, well, we'll get set for heat race number 4 here of 5, almost 50 cars. Something to behold, indeed, as heat number 4, Austin Tucker brings it up, Tyler Augustino in 2nd, Alexander Bueller will be in 3rd, Matthew Dupuy is in 4th, Adam Joseph Milhod in 5th, Ethan Condi will be in 6th, Vietnam in 7th, Giovanni Romano, the driver that is the cause of everybody's suffering here at the World Center race, will be in 8th, and Adam Jackson brings it home in 9th.
So the race has been good so far, other than the backwards driving?
You left me on my own.
Yeah.
And
well,
my voice is already going.
Well, hopefully I'm here for the rest of the time. I'm a little
Fingers
nervous.
crossed.
Hopefully that's the only blue screen of the night.
Is it the storms that's catching you out there? Because I know it's pretty stormy out east.
Oh, it's there's no storms out where I live, so I have no idea. I really have no idea what is going on with my computer. But hey, the green flag's out. Thank goodness I get to watch them racing.
Austin Tucker leads the way out of the grid. Tyler Augustino on a great charge. 3 wide for the heat race lead down to turn 1. The 58 of Bueller going to back out. And side by side for that top spot. Oh boy, big according effect. And Condi going around with Romano at the back end of the field. Everybody else, double file like Nozark through the S's.
Austin Tucker getting down to the right-hand hairpin right here, coming around. Pretty healthy lead of our second-place driver, Tyler Augustino. Or sorry, Dupuy has gotten around Augustino for that second-place position. But Austin Tucker still leading the way as we take this hard right-hand corner at the end of our second little straightaway right here on the opening lap. Man, that really is tight. You were telling me in the preview that was only wide enough for about 1 car. You aren't kidding. That is absolutely tight going through the infield section of the racetrack on the moto layout. Now coming out to the back straightaways. Austin Tucker still leads the way with Dupuy in 2nd and Tyler Augustino in 3rd.
I mean, hey, to these guys' credit, it may be tight in that section of the racetrack, but we haven't actually seen anybody spinning each other out in that section either. I think the fact that it is such a slow section of the racetrack may very well help out with that. If it was one of the faster sections, I can't say it would be the same, but funneling their way down to that backstretch chicane. Tucker still with the lead. Augustino and Bueller bring it up in the battle for 3rd and 4th, and these are 2 pro drivers going at it on your screens as well. Remember, they have that new Pro-Am system of scoring. It's a bit weird, right? You got 2 points championships going on, and they do score in their own individual championships, but the points are still awarded only for overall, not based off of class. I like that system because it still does put that emphasis on every spot matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I need to do some research on exactly what what our point system changes are for this season. The beer league switching up on us a little bit, but it is interesting. Obviously, we can see it on the left side of the screen, kind of the two different points standings, I suppose, with the guys outlined in green, then the guys outlined in blue. But I'm really surprised to see how hooked up all these cars look around the road course. I didn't expect the late model stock to just look absolutely hooked up, but these things look like they're on rails right now.
I mean, hey, remember, these cars are meant to go. They're meant to brake, they're meant to turn, they're meant to throttle. I mean, road courses, they're where these cars shine. In fact, you compare a NASCAR, a next-gen stock car to a late model stock on this circuit, I guarantee you the late model stock will be seconds faster than the next-gen car. Because, yes, the next-gen car has the top-end speed, but this car annihilates the next-gen car in the corners.
But that just surprises me. Like, I agree with you, or at least I believe you because of what I'm watching right now, but I didn't expect to jump in here tonight and just absolutely see these guys take these right-hand corners so easily and really not have any type of issue. I'm also very curious to see if we can hit those yellow Corvettes down on the infield in the race.
You saw them
very
too.
Interested. Yeah, I'm very interested to see if, like, do you just drive straight through them, or is that a wall that we might be seeing some people hit?
I think you can just go straight through them, to be frank. Remember, we're on the old 2007 scan of Daytona, so we're by no means on anything new here.
Oh, man. I was hopeful that we would see somebody absolutely clobber one of those things at some point tonight, but if we can just go through them, that's no fun.
Battle for second shaking up pretty well over here so far. Sorry, battle for third shaking up with Augustino and Bueller sitting just a couple of tenths of a second apart. Pinging off the chip as they make that run down to turn one, topping out again at about 160 miles an hour as they make that dive down into turn number one. There's the look to the inside. Bueller thought about going for the lunge. Oh, but a big twitch from the front end as he hit the transition will make him think twice as Augustino will still hang on for third.
Augustino doing a good job of holding on to that position for now through the infield section, but this is the last lap right here. Bueller trying to do everything he can to get past the driver of the 44. I got to be honest, I'm so happy we're in NASCAR vehicles just so I get a big number on the side of the door. It makes it so much easier for me being able to see Tyler Augustino's big fat number 44 on the side of the door. You know exactly who you're looking at as soon as you look at it. So I'm kind of thankful selfishly that we're in the NASCAR vehicles this year.
About to make the look down to the inside, and sure enough, oh, Bueller again. He's thinking about it. He just can't get it. He gets it. He got him there. A little bit of a shot to the shorts, trying to use that chrome horn. I was talking at Brandt after the preseason race. That's risky business, right? Because it tends to be a lot more of a scoop than a bumper at this point in these types of cars. This is way off the track goes Romano.
I like that line he's taking way out there. That's the high side out in the grass. Taking the tire dip into a whole new level. And obviously cutting the backstretch chicane. Okay. Classic move from Giovanni Romano in the heat races.
Got for the leader.
Not surprised one bit.
Romano going to be looking to steal a heat race win, but it won't stand. We know that for a fact. Romano going to be bumped down to the tail end here of this field. Austin Tucker looking like he might be the heat race winner, but looking in on what will end up being the battle for third here as Bueller closing on Augustino. Tucker with the win. Dupuy in second. Augustino trying to hang on for third. Bueller looking low. Can he get to the back bumper? Into the grass. He won't make it in time. And Dupuy hangs on for third in heat race number 4.
Giovanni Romano almost got absolutely destroyed after the checkered flag. We're watching a couple more drivers come through. Mail hot Vietnam going to finish off their races right here. Jackson Conti, my mistake, coming through. And that's going to end out heat race number 4 as we have an absolute parking lot as per usual after the heat race, and we're going to jump right into heat race number 5.
Final heat race of the night, Sean Bradley with the number 1 spot, and, known as Hillbilly Hank down in the number 2 spot. Jason Lee is in 3rd, Tyler Carlton 4th. Tyler Elsesser, as I've been corrected, is going to be in the 5th spot. Alex Harrison in 6th, Mac Verstappen is 7th, Alex Coffert is 8th, and Todd Madole will bring it home in the number 9 spot.
Hillbilly Hank, is that what we're calling him?
Hey, that's what it says in the overlay. Oh, and I don't have another name, so we'll roll over. I'm sorry, my voice is already going. We'll roll with it for now.
Fair enough. My iRacing is telling me something else, so that's going to be tough for me. If you hear me say Jay DeVries, that's the 96.
That makes sense.
Hillbilly
okay.
Hank.
That makes sense.
Of course, it's Jay DeVries. He was the one that did the interesting stuff
Why
at Daytona last year, right?
Yes.
Wasn't he the one that? I'm definitely not repeating what last year's was, but heat race number 5, final heat race of the night. Getting ready to go green right here, right now. Sean Bradley on the pole. Green flag's out. He's going to take off, but Jay DeVries on that outside. Going to be able to maybe take the lead before they get down to turn 1.
DeVries, that good launch. He'll look to take that lead away right into turn number 1, but the 00 fighting back as Bradley will look to keep this one secured, and he'll have that lead still as we dive through turn 1. The top 3 on a good breakaway from the rest of the field. They're scrapping for 4th on back.
Yeah, it was a really good start there from Jay DeVries, but Sean Bradley just drove it in. Way more commitment into turn 1. Oh, Jay DeVries, a little bit too much commitment into turn 3. Really deep into the, oh man, there's a little bit of contact further behind him. Jason Hell getting a little bit of a tap there from, I believe, Tyler Carlton. Almost sent him right around on throttle. Luckily, he was able to hold on to it. Oh, but he's going to get another bumper going down into another corner. Oh my goodness, the 45, and Tyler Carlton is just, he's really abusing the bumpers on these NASCAR cars. He gets put into a NASCAR car and he immediately just wants to bump everybody off the road, it seems.
I mean, hey, rubbin's racing, right, especially in stock cars. And, I mean, these cars, they definitely bump and rub no matter where you put them. And Sean Bradley still hanging on from DeVries. Jason Lee just behind the number 3 spot. Carlton and Cofford round out the top 5. All things considered, a very clean heat race. El Cesar did not make it to the call, making this just an 8-horse race instead of a 9-car race.
Yeah, other than the bumper cars between Jason Lee here, and Tyler Carlton. Pretty clean showing so far, but maybe I probably shouldn't be calling them NASCAR cars either. They are just stock cars, right? Cars tour cars, so maybe the NASCAR description doesn't quite work out. But hey, cars with fenders. Well, the Ford Mustang last year had fenders too, so I don't know. I don't know the right way to describe this, but hey, they're using the bumpers. They're going to be aggressive all year long, and I'm a little worried with how the bumpers line up. I think we might see a lot of unintentional spin outs compared to what we saw last year with the Ford Mustang. I feel like those bumpers just line up a little bit better.
Well, I mean, you'd think that, right? But, I mean, we'll come off of the race at Brands Hatch, and it was surprisingly clean, all things considered. I mean, there was only one safety car in the early going, yes, but these cars, they raced surprisingly well. They were able to bump and rub a little bit. Sure, there were a few cases of people getting dumped, but for the most part, it was a pretty clean race as beer league races go at the very least. I know most road racers' eyes would be twitching if they saw the number of incidents that were in that race, but compared to last season, I'd say on the incident count, it was a big improvement.
I guess that's not too surprising, I guess, but I don't know. I still feel like we're going to get some of those weird races because you got to think these guys are drinking. I think there's just going to be some weeks where they're feeling like they want to drink a little bit more than other weeks, and it's just still going to get some hairy moments like we saw last year with the the Mount Panorama race. Hopefully we don't get another Mount Panorama, but I feel like there's going to be a couple of those races where we're going to be verging on the edge of insanity with the amount of accidents.
Well, and I guess I should kind of refrain a bit too much. They only had 36 cars in the preseason race. We've got way more than that
50.
here tonight. Not quite, nearly 50. I think 47 will be the official tally. Oh boy, bit of content there between the 13 and Harrison and the 751 as they enter the bus stop.
Yeah, hard racing going down to the bus stop on the back straightaway. Oh, the 5 gets a little bit wide. Has to go through the grass, taking a little bit of a evasive maneuver there. Todd Madole does in the 13. Back for Stupid going backwards. Madole picking up that position as we look now at Jason Lee going through turns 3 and 4. NASCAR 3 and 4, that is. Coming back up onto the front straightaway, coming to the final lap of heat race number 5. The final lap before we get to jump into a 47-car madness race for the feature.
Bradley still with the heat race lead, but only by about a quarter of a second. You're watching the battle for third between Lee, Carlton, and Cofford. Whoa, way out wide goes Tyler Carlton. Gives Alex Cofford a bit of a momentum run coming out of turn number 1, this time through. And Verstappen slowing towards turn 1, so I think he might be calling the quits here for the evening. As Sean Bradley, problems potentially. Oh no, Cofford.
No.
Cofford took the Joker lap that they used for the Rallycross course here.
I was just about to say, I wonder what Alex Cofford is going to come up with here on the heat race here today. That was not very special. I expect more from Cofford, but he's still got half a lap to.
It's a long way to go.
Looking up at Sean Bradley in the race lead. Here coming to about half a lap to go. Just a couple more corners after you get past that backstretch bus stop. I feel like there's not much to do, but there is Alex Cofford finding the special course.
Busted
way
through the camper,
out coming out. Yeah, he just
the camper lot.
Easy way to take the lead. It was a little bit different than Romano. He had that figured out a little bit different.
Sean Bradley continuing to lead the way so far as Cofford again going to be looking to potentially take up the win here. We're going to be sending this down. And a bit of side-by-side action, and hello, we got one car around actually. Is Jason Lee, I think, having it off there in the final corner. Cofford taking the apron. I'm not sure how effective that strategy is, but Sean Bradley will be the heat race winner here in this one with Cofford. He'll be sent to the tail end, bumped down past Verstappen. So Bradley will have the heat race win. DeVries will be second. Carlton, Lee, Badol, Harrison will look to round out the field unless you have a last-minute change in the battle for the number 5 spot here. I don't think we will, though. That's a lot of distance to cover.
Yeah, Jason Lee going to come through, finish in that 5th place position. Todd Badol in 6th. Obviously, all these guys are going to move up one spot with Alex Cofford cutting the course. And Mac Verstappen, he's decided to rip this thing back around, wanting to show us that Los Angeles Kings paint scheme on the back. Can't say that I like it, but hey, more power to him.
He'll back his way across the start-finish line, and well, with that, we're ready to get things rolling here for the feature event. 55 minutes of racing action coming on up, and it lines up like this as, boy, it's going to get wild here in a hurry. Josh Freed will have the pole position here in this one. Steve McClendon will be in second. Alexander Hammonds in third. Austin Tucker fourth. Sean Bradley brings home the top 5. Kyle Smith, Barry Morton, John Combs, Matthew Dupuy, and Jay DeVries bring up the top 10. Corey Berry, Aaron Thacker, Chris Bright, Tyler Augustino, Tyler Carlton, Jeremy Castro, Greg Beckman, Brooks Clayton, Alexander Bueller, and Jason Lee bring up 11th through 20th. 21st to 30th looks like Graham Jordan, Jonathan Lane, Adam Klein, Adam Joseph Mailhot, Tom Adol, Darren By, Evan Campbell, Shane Cameron, Tyler Vien, and Alex Harrison. Rounding out 31st to 40th, it's going to be Blake Gambrill, Tanner Klein, Brian LeBlanc, Adam Jackson, Mac Verstappen, Alexander Clank, Jonathan Lefebvre, Morgan Otto, Ethan Condy, Alex Cofford, Steve Turnbull, and Chris Hannigan. And then closing out the field will be Jordan Babcock, Giovanni Romano, Tyler Alcessor, and Eric Ronenberg. Give me a medal for not fumbling on a single name in that one.
Goodness, that was impressive. None. There was no. I can't even say normal words right, and you had the entire 50.
Achievement.
Yeah, you had the entire 46 car field. I can't even come up with just basic little words coming out. My goodness, congratulations! I'm definitely giving you a medal for that one.
Well,
you got my second ticket to the 500?
Yeah, I can't afford the plane ticket.
Oh, understandable. And to be fair, I wouldn't want to get on a Boeing right now anyway.
Ay. Well, it'll be an interesting race here. We got, 15 seconds left before we get to go racing? Well, who do you think is going to be your pick? It's a bit early to ask that, but we'll go for the game anyway.
Boy, I don't know who's good in the NASCAR cars. Well, Romano picked them. It's easy. That's an easy pick, though. I'm going to go with Alex Cofford.
Cofford, bold choice.
Yeah.
We'll see if you'll be correct. He did finish on the podium in the preseason race after starting near dead last, so we'll see how this is going to pan out. Revs start to build. As Barton, the flagman, holds his green flag up high. And we are racing for 55 minutes of racing action from the World Center of Racing. Josh Freed on a good getaway. And then drive down to turn 1. McClendon couldn't get away. He's being attacked by Alexander Hammonds with a second. Down to turn number 1. And a lot of cars going to be locking this one up here. So far, so good, though. Not seeing any big moments just yet. A lot of positions swapping around. 3, 4 wide on the tail end as we go through turn 1. How about that, though? We made it through turn 1 clean.
We made it through turn 1 clean with 46 cars. I don't care if a couple of them are off in the grass. That didn't even count. Unbelievable job for everybody in the field as Josh Freed's pulling away here from Alexander Hammonds coming out of turn number 3.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, and there it is finally. But hey, it took them 3 corners. That is massively impressive with 46 of these cars through here. Crazy job for everybody in the beer league, especially because you got to think half of them are probably drunk. But here comes Josh Freed coming up through the infield. Last couple of corners before we get back up onto the back straightaway into the backstretch chicane. Josh Freed, oh man, that's a tight move there from the 26. Almost got into the back of Josh Freed as Freed was just a little slow through those corners. But Alexander Hammonds all over the back bumper coming back out onto the back straightaway, but Josh Freed is able to pull out just a little bit of a gap before they get to the backstretch chicane.
It's an ever chaotic race as Greg Beckman is now spun and stopped, and he's trying to get his car refired. As that car is stalled, he's going to quickly reverse it off the racing circuit. That's a good job for the 42 car there. But a side-by-side action. This is for 17th here as Biola trying to fend off Clayton and Madol. Clayton in the 9, trying to look high, trying to look low, can't find a way around. How about Todd Madol? He's now under fire by the likes of Jason Lee.
Yeah, going through NASCAR 3 and 4. Brooks Clayton, Jason Lee, 13 and Todd Madol, all fighting for this 18th place position coming out of turn 4. A little weird not having that front stretch chicane. I'm so used to seeing that whenever I see NASCAR cars on a Daytona, or stock cars on a Daytona road course. But they don't have it here as our race leader goes a little bit wide through turn 1. Josh Freed a little bit further up the road. Open up the door for Alexander Hammonds. Oh, but there's just not enough room there on pit exit. As Hammonds diving in deep here down into turn 3. Looks like he's going to think better of it.
Or does he, as he's trying to get to the back bumper here.
Yeah, he had a pretty good run through the center of the corner. Josh Freed opened it up a little bit more than I expected. Hammonds kind of fading inside here, looking like he's going to make a move, but it's just really not on in that right-hander, the right-left here through the infield. Just not enough room. It is so skinny through that section of the racetrack. It's tough to fit 2 drivers through. It's tough to fit 1 car through on that little section. Definitely not fitting 2 as we look a little bit further back. What a dive bomb. I said you couldn't fit it, but the dive bomb for the 013 over the 71. Crazy move going down into our middle of the infield section. Able to make that move work.
That's Alexander Clegg just getting around the 71 of Evan Campbell, moving him out of the way. 1 car goes into the grass. That's Shane Cameron. He'll lose a handful as you try to work your way back around to the oval. We're trying to get a look on what happened, by the way, in that run down into the down in the turn 3 on the opening lap here in just a moment. But boy, what a great race it's been so far. I mean, a lot of absolutely stunning racing action that we've had so far here tonight. As here's what happened down to the turn 3, and there's already a couple of drivers spun and stopped kind of in the midst of that run. We'll take a better look here. This will be with Brian LeBlanc and more, all in the big drive down to the turn 1, and well, look at the chaos unfold.
Honestly, only a couple of guys going around.
Yeah, I'll take
too
that.
bad there on lap 1. I mean, I just got to give everybody in the beer league a lot of credit, because you got to think, last time we were at Daytona, now I know we were on the big oval. It was not a good showing, but here on the road course, really good showing as we got the top 2 fighting down into turn number 1. Josh Freed just hanging on over Alexander Hammonds, who went just a little bit wide, a little bit too late on the brakes getting down there, and that's going to allow Josh Freed to scoot away just a little bit away from the 26, but the 26 looks so good here through the hairpin of turn 3, and really, really good down to the braking zone of 4 and 5.
50 seconds, then we're going to be good to go. Well, Alex Crawford, your pick to win, not having a good night as he has been spun around towards the tail end of the field. So he is going to be one of the few drivers that's going to be down and off, and he's going to lose all the progress he made in the first handful of laps. We'll again get a look back and find out what happened here to Alex Crawford in just a moment, as he had a big moment coming down into turn number 1.
Yeah, going to get that look back as Alex Crawford on the outside of the 71 going down to turn 1. Oh, he was trying to fit in that gap in the 4. Obviously just trying to fill it. Chris Hannigan coming through with a head of steam. Didn't expect Crawford to go for the undercut on the driver in front of him, but unfortunately for both those guys, that's what happened. They both got the short end of the stick. As we see the 95 now around through, I believe that is turn 7 through the infield section.
Adam Klein having a wreck kind of at the same time. There's Brian LeBlanc going off, and then Adam Klein kind of coming to a bit of a slow stop and a bit of a weird moment kind of in the same series there. But for the most part, again, we escape disaster. We've been having a pretty good race so far. You see what I mean, though, right? I mean, we're not seeing the big pilots that we usually see at the starts of these races in the Mustangs, and hey, I'm just fine with that. It means less work I have to do behind the cameras and jumping around to find everything. Freed and Hammonds about to be side by side again for the lead down to turn 1.
Woo! Aggressive fading up towards the top of the racetrack there from Josh Freed. And a little bit too aggressive getting into turn 1, late on the brakes. He gets saved by Alexander Hammonds. I really think Josh Freed was going around there if Hammonds did not give him a little bit of a bumper. I think Hammonds has been a little bit quicker, and now finally Josh Freed makes the mistake that Alexander Hammonds needs to take the position, and they're racing hard for that 4th place position behind him. McClendon trying to take it away from Austin Tucker. He's on the inside. He's got the preferred groove going down into turn number 4. I'd be surprised if he doesn't just outbrake the heck out of Austin Tucker here, getting into the right-hander. He does, really deep down into the brakes, able to take that position, able to clear the 2-4-3 as they go down into turn 5. And oh man, Austin Tucker gets loose coming out of the corner, but he hangs on to it, able to hold on to that 5th place position over Combs.
And it's not the only side-by-side battle. You look further back to Eric Ronenberg and Graham Jordan having a side-by-side battle, and oh boy, we've had a big stack up towards the tail end of the field as the 70 car, of El Setzer going around. So a couple of folks having problems down there at the far end of the racetrack. Excuse me. Take a look back and find out what happened here. As wow, there's a couple of cars actually going around, and that just resulted in a parking lot.
Yeah, a little bit of an issue there between a couple drivers coming through turn 3. I think that's going to be a trouble spot all night. It's just a really slow, awkward corner after a very heavy braking zone getting into it. So I'm not too surprised to see most of our incidents happening there through turn 3 as we now look through the back straightaway down to the bus stop. You know, we were talking earlier about how this has been a little bit cleaner than what we got used to with the Ford, what was it, the FR500? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the FR500S. You forgot the S.
Thank you. Very important. Yeah, like my PS5 Slim. You got to remember the S, the Slim on there. But anyway, I feel like maybe it's because we don't have that H pattern shifter where you really got to punch in the clutch and focus so much on shifting. Maybe we're seeing a little bit cleaner racing just because a lot of these guys are not having to worry about one more thing. And, you know, whenever you got this is the beer league. Well, yeah, but you don't have to use the clutch.
Do you not?
To shift?
I've always used it.
You don't have to, I don't believe. There's no way. All of the stock car vehicles of the, ever since the 2010s, I believe all you got to do is blip shift. And it's so much easier than having to punch in the clutch, I'm telling you. Especially whenever it's the beer league and a lot of these guys have probably been drinking. There's no way in heck I could use an H-pattern shifter if I was 5 beers deep.
You underestimate the power that these drivers,
I'm a lightweight,
drivers wield.
Yeah, I'm a lightweight. I'm sure some of these guys, considering they race in the beer league, as we see another accident through turn 3. The 95 getting that thing righted. Second time we've seen the 95 go around, and Brian LeBlanc having a little bit of a shocker here. LeBlanc, typically one of our fastest guys, one of the guys that kind of dominated in the Ford FR500 or FRS 500, FR500S. I don't know. That's what it is. But yeah, tough break going down to turn 3. We see a lot of people lock up going down to that corner today.
See the long train of cars working their way towards the bus stop chicane. We are well into the safety car period where it could be deployed at this point. So now we wait to see how or if this race will be shaken up. Looking to the outside will be Alexander Bueller, Tyler Carlton. Down on the bottom, this is the battle for 12th. And right now, the momentum really goes to the outside. Big time for Bueller, especially since they're already so close to the rev limiter as it is.
Yeah, I feel like going down the front straightaway, I feel like there's so much more speed these cars could have, but you can definitely tell they're hitting the tack just a little bit early. Well, quite a bit early, to be honest with you, and just not really able to get up to full speed, which I think makes turn 1 a little bit easier, but we've still seen a couple issues going down into turn 1 in that heavy braking zone. But because of it being a little bit different and not able to get to full speed, I think that's why we're seeing most of the incidents down into turn 3, because you're just flying all the way down into that corner, accelerating the entire way down, and then it's an easy heavy braking zone to try to outdive somebody. But we've seen a lot of lockups. We've seen that right front tire get locked up as soon as we get on the brakes. We see Jason Lee going through the grass and multiple other drivers around. The 96 and the 816 both having a little bit of a shocker here through turn 4. That's Jay DeVries and Aaron Thacker both having an issue.
Taking a look at what happened to Jay DeVries here as he looked for the inside on Aaron Thacker, and well, that's the scoop that I was talking about. Sent both of those cars around and almost wiped out a few, but they were able to, for the most part, get themselves pretty well sorted. So I'll give them credit on that one. And now 2 more cars off. Graham Jordan and Evan Campbell both going off kind of towards the other end of the racetrack.
You said DeVries was looking to get to the inside of Thacker, but I really think he was trying to get inside of his race car. Yeah, so the same thing. Going down into turn 6, I believe that was. Coming around that bend. That's a weird camera angle. I'm not used to these cameras on Daytona.
You can blame Iris for that one.
Yeah,
it's their pack. It's not our usual pack. We didn't have one for this track.
That is turn 6. Okay, I'm making sure. Oh, that is very unfortunate. Probably the one track on the whole service you don't have camera pack.
The track layout. I have it for the oval, the regular road course.
Oh my goodness. They should just borrow some of them, but still going down to turn 1. A whole lot of hard racing all throughout the field tonight. Really awesome to see here. Oh man, 10 gets in the back of the 13. That's a little bit too hard. Oh, Chris Bright spins out the 13 and then he gets jumped going down into turn 1 as well. Big issue there for Chris Bright. That was just a little overeager getting down into turn 1. Could not get on the brakes quite heavy enough to avoid the 13, and unfortunately just spun him right around. I'm trying to find who the 13 is. I'm not used to that paint scheme.
the 13 car. You're looking at Todd Madola for that one.
Well, Todd Madola, unfortunately for him, had absolutely nothing. I don't think he did anything wrong. He just got absolutely drove through down in turn 1. As we now look at Jeremy Castro, who's getting drove through in turn 5. The 017 trying to get to his inside. Not quite able to make it happen as they funnel down into turn 6.
And now deep into the brakes, we'll go Castro down to turn 7. Ronenberg trying to fight back around the outside as you work up towards 8. Whoa, man, that 24 car kicking out the back bumper. Eric Ronenberg giving it everything he's got. He is giving Castro the beans right now as they fire it up to the backstretch this time by. And will there be a look into the bus stop chicane? Usually there is on the regular road course, but there's just not enough of a drafting run for there to be any move when you're working your way down the backstretch toward NASCAR 3 and 4.
Yeah, there just doesn't really seem to be much of an opportunity, but here's an opportunity right here now through 3 and 4. The 58 looking to the outside of the 45. This is for that 9th place position. Tyler Carlton has it right now. Alexander Bueller's trying to take it away down the front straightaway through the tri-oval, and they've got a couple of guys in front of them too. They've got Morton, they've got Smith just up the road. They could quite possibly get up to 7th place here. Alexander Bueller trying to get up to 8th place here first around the 45. Looks like the 45 is just going to drive it in deeper down into turn 1, take the position away, and Alexander Bueller is going to have to regroup and fight again down into turn 3.
Get a good indicator of what it's like to drive one of these late model stocks at the Daytona National Speedway moto layout as he's really trying to get to that back bumper to the International Horseshoe. Oh, he just gets him there. A little bit of a tippy tap, but for the most part, keeps it out. So some good work there to kind of make sure that wasn't any worse than it could have been. Meanwhile, Shane Cameron showing to have been off the racetrack for a little while. Let's take a look back, find out what happened to Cameron in the 43. He's got Chris Bright right behind, and has he? Oh, nope, he's done that himself. Locked the rears on the entry.
Did he? The way that ripped around so quick, it almost seemed like he downshifted a little bit too early. I mean, the back end just stepped out so quick. Now, as we look at Alex Coffer trying to recover. Oh man, that's not a good way to recover. Getting absolutely destroyed by a watermelon behind you. A lot of guys in real life know what that's like. But Alex Coffer trying now to get past the 71. I mean, he's mired way back in the field at this point. Typically not seeing Alex Coffer way back in 31st this early in the going. But that's where he's at right now. He's stuck behind Graham Jordan.
Tyler Vinen having a little spin of his own. And just a little whoopsie-daisy. Loops the back end of the 46. That's all by himself as we'll check in on the battle between Tyler Carlton and Alexander Bueller. This time, though, Bueller with the inside. And he'll finally get around Carlton. Carlton will tuck back in line. Discount Toyota versus Discount Chevy as you fire out from NASCAR turn 4 and back to the tri-oval. Look at the momentum, though, that Carlton's got. He's going to try to look for the high side. He's going to try to outbrake him here to turn 1 around the outside, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, but 58 slides up the racetrack, kind of says, nah, I don't want you even trying to outbrake me on the outside of the racetrack. Finally, Bueller able to take that position. Fortunately, that fighting has kind of allowed Smith and Morton to pull away a little bit, especially Morton, and has kind of let Corey Barrett into the fight here for the top 10. But at this point, Alexander Bueller is just focusing forward, just trying to run away from the driver of the 45 and catch up to Smith.
4-car battle for 8. Smith, Bueller, Carlton, and Barrett all packed up line astern as you work your way back into the moto layout of this racetrack. Still caution-free for now, about, 15 minutes in? 15 out of 55 minutes down with just under 39 minutes to go. Making good time so far. And the last caution that we had at Brands Hatch, it came out within 5 minutes of it being able to. So it came out really early, and then it went green to the end from there. I'm thinking this one, the bot may be opting for a caution more around halfway.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see it already drop 11 minutes into this thing. I feel like most races we saw last season, it was really relatively early caution that we got most of the time. I feel like it was normally within the first 10 to 12 minutes. We're ended up on the back end of that right now here, coming to 11 minutes into the caution period. 16 minutes into the race, still 39 minutes to go. And we do have it is 10 minutes that the caution cuts off, correct?
Yes, the last 10.
Alrighty, so still 28 minutes left in the caution period. I mean, we got plenty of time to still have one of those shake up our running order, and we could still see a lot of strategy. No telling who's going to short bid and bet on that caution coming out here and there later going.
How about that for a pass? Kyle Smith getting around Bueller, and Bueller with the cutback, trying to get back at him through turn 1 as Smith left the door open. Here we go in the fight, and Bueller, he won't get him here into the International Horseshoe. Could he go for a second over-under? Not this time. The 549 learned quickly from that mistake, and this time he didn't let the door open.
Wow, it looked like Bueller was going to have that move made, but Kyle Smith, I mean, he just drove it into turn 3 unbelievably deep. He was just about cleared by the 58 before they got down there. And by the time they got to the middle of the corner, he was clear of Alexander Bueller. Some crazy move there, holding on to that 8th place position from Kyle Smith. As we look further back for the battle of 30th, Graham Jordan, Morgan Otto, Brian LeBlanc, and Todd Manolo all here back in the back of the pack. Really surprised to see names like Brian LeBlanc and Todd Manolo back here at this point. Oh man, it's the 95 really deep on the brakes. Brian LeBlanc is not having a good night.
Well, we mentioned in that preseason race, it's a very different style of racing with these cars, right? The Mustang was a lot more well, we got Evan Campbell off the racetrack, but you know, the Ford Mustang was very much where you kind of just chuck it in and hope for the best. The late model stock, you're a bit more tender with it, right? You kind of have to tiptoe around a little bit to make sure you're all in good spirits. Ethan Conde going around setting Chris Hannigan off the racing circuit as well. But it's all about being cautious with these cars, right? Because they are so much more delicate as opposed to the other cars that these guys have ran in the past.
Yeah, I feel like the Ford from last year, I feel like it took like a relatively big hit or a massive mistake over a curb to be able to really kind of upset a car or wreck them. These things you got to really finesse though. The late model stock, they do not take as much of a beating. It can take a little bit smaller of a curb to really rough these things up and have you bounce and on corner exit, and you really don't want those rear tires chattering. You want to have them connected to the surface at all time, have as much traction as we see. Finally, Alexander Bueller getting past Kyle Smith down through turn 3, able to get a little bit of a bump and run out of the corner, but Smith not able to do anything with it as Bueller is now pulling away as we see Austin Tucker going through the grass there through turn 5.
Tucker having a bit of an unsettlement there as he was working his way, trying to close up on the guys in front, and I think he may have just outbraked himself. He's all by himself. Hard on the bind is saying, whoa, yeah, nowhere close to making that corner. He decided to cut his loss and kind of cut across the racetrack instead of trying to turn back on an awkward line. Barrett to the inside of Clank. He's going to pick off 12, and nothing Clank can do about that one except tuck in line and try to keep Thacker from freight trading him.
Yeah, Clank just losing the one position, does a good job just kind of falling back in line. At some point, you just got to let somebody go. You know, there's just going to be somebody faster than you just about every race, right? I mean, there's only one guy that's going to be the fastest, and we got 46 guys in here. It's tough to beat that, but unfortunate for Clank, he just lost that one position. Corey Barrett moving up, though. I feel like I've seen him kind of be picking his way through the field a little bit over the course of the last few laps. He started back in the 36th place position, all the way up to 13th. Or sorry, that's Alexander Clank. Corey Barrett is right where he started.
Clank not letting this one go without a fight either. That's not how that's supposed to work. It's Corey Barrett effectively shutting Clank up and out on the top side of the racetrack, but Clank still side by side, right at the door, right behind Ronenberg and DeVries, both looking, kind of waiting in the wing, seeing if they can't make a move. Clank goes way too wide, and that's the move that DeVries was looking for, and he's going to take it to the inside. Or that Thacker was waiting for, sorry.
Going down to turn 3, Clank on the inside, able to take that position as the 816 of Ronenberg just locks up a little bit. Eric Ronenberg was one of the fastest guys last year, but you can tell he's struggling a little bit with the late model stock as well, running in that 14th place position. I gotta say, I mean, Ronenberg, right? He would start at the back every single race last year and would just march his way to the front, and he's done the same thing here tonight. Started in 46 up to 15th, but now he's losing positions. I kind of feel like that's a little bit of a testament to the stock car vehicles and how much tire fall off there is, and you really have to save them at the early going. You can't just absolutely murder them in the first couple of laps like I really think you could with the Ford Mustang FR 500S. I think you can just kind of murder that thing, and it really wouldn't matter whatsoever. These things, you got to take care of the tires a little bit more.
Corey Barrett trying to keep Eric Ronenberg at bay. Ronenberg way to the inside and somehow slows it down in time that he doesn't run into the back of Alexander Clank. Great driving there from Eric Ronenberg to work his way up and around.
Yeah, Ronenberg picking up that spot on the inside of Corey Barrett, going down into the backstretch chicane.
Ooh.
Bus stop, able to easily take it under braking. I mean, that's a lately move down into the bus stop, able to take it back. Eric Runenberg up to the 13th place position after he started all the way back in last place, 46 in the 46 car field.
Having some troubles with Greg Beckman, it looks like, as Beckman has been turned around down at turn 7, locking it up on the brakes, and he's going to get some help from the 13 car. Punted up and wide, and then showing there may have been a second car of Lefevre getting involved, and not sure what happened to Lefevre in all of this, as well, this is something completely different. It would look like. It looks like he may have just had a bit of a slow moment, not an actual spin on the racetrack, but. You know, we talk about the racing, right? I mean, the racing's been fantastic tonight. I mean, these cars just race so well on a road course. Surprisingly so.
Yeah, I mean, I kicked it off, during the heat races, mentioning that. I'm very shocked at how well these things drive around this racetrack. But I think a little bit of that is just because of the finesse that it takes to drive a vehicle that's really not built to go around road courses, right? Like, I know you harped on, they're kind of built for short tracks, and to be honest, there's a lot of similarities between short tracks and road courses in a lot of ways, but these things are not road course built cars. We have massive impact between the 816 going down to turn 6. A little nose damage there on the front end, but they do have that. They do still have the quick recovery. I do believe they just have that incident limit that could maybe make you come down pit road to take a dive down for a black flag service. But here, the 99 over the 816. I believe this is for about 16th place. Giovanni Romano running that 16th place position right now. He's taking it away from here.
I think it is actually a good idea to mention, because it's so easy to go off track here. There is a new incident limit system that is in play that wasn't here in seasons past. The way it works, once you get 30 incident points, you get a drive-through. And then you get another drive-through for every 10 incident points after that. Pit stops are underway. Green flag stops for the first time in an official race on the season. As the 816 and more, Ronenberg, Thacker, Castro, Lee, and Cofford all into the pits.
I've got to think that this must be the opening of the pit window. I imagine they'll probably be good to go to the end from here. I mean, it's been, 24 minutes? So, yeah, you got to make it another 7 minutes on this one. But I feel like these guys are deciding to short pit it just in case that caution comes out. If the caution comes out after they pit, they'll be able to save a little bit of gas under the caution. They'll also be able to jump every single person that stayed out and then has to come down pit road on the next couple of laps. So, big-time strategy call by a couple of the guys that have come down already on that 31-minute mark. Going to have to make it a lot longer on the second stint than they did the first stint, though.
Working on a pit road is that number 8 car. Jason Lee looking like he'll funnel out right about 27th on the field. So not too far back, still relatively close in the mid-pack. So there's a lot of kind of potential room there for him to make something happen. Alexander Hammonds, in the meantime, has continued to just rocket away with the race lead. He is 9.5 seconds clear right now from Josh Freed, and that is not a gap that is going to be surmounted anytime soon. I think Hammonds established himself early as a really big title threat in these types of races, as he's also in a pit road.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that gap is actually going to come down right now because he's entering pit road. Obviously, Josh Freed looking like he's going to stay out. Kind of surprised to see that. I figured he would kind of stay with everybody at that point, but multiple drivers coming down from the top 5, coming to take that one and only pit stop, I do believe, on the night. I've got to think that they're good to go to the end on here, or from here.
Hammonds, Bradley, Tucker, Combs, Bueller, Morton, Carlton, Smith, Clank, DeVries, Dupuis, Lane, Bright, all into pit road. It is about half the field right now that are all down and in for service here on this one, and there's more as Hannigan is in as well. With how many cars are short pitting, I think this is just purely on fuel, not short pitting.
Yeah, I was about to kind of backtrack what I was saying. I think you're 100% right. With everybody coming down pit road, yeah. I mean, I remember last season, there would be multiple times where I was like, man, I feel like everybody should come down just in case the short pit happens, but we would typically have about half the field stay out as we were looking at a replay of the 42 going around through turn 6.
John Conde for locking that down.
Yeah, no kidding. Great job avoiding that one through the slow section of the infield. But yeah, I think everybody's basically out of gas. I got to say, I don't think it's a strategy call. I think they're filling that thing completely up, and they're just gonna take a splash of gas at the end of this thing if they absolutely need to. Oh man, coming out of the pit lane, Chris Bright almost gets run over by the 703. Tight racing. Even coming out of pit road is Matthew Dupuis. Just about got Chris Bright in the rear.
telling them to get a move on, right? We can go faster than this. Why are we hanging around?
I mean, it doesn't matter where you are on track. You gotta be pedal to the metal. But I gotta be honest, the pit exit here is sketch. I mean, you just drive it in a little bit too deep into that tight little hairpin to the left, and you absolutely destroy that outside wall. Of course, they don't have that damage problem, but I would really hate jumping it on accident and getting a black flag.
Josh Freed and Steve McClendon will be both down and into pit road, and way in hot was McClendon. I think he just slowed that one down in time. We are waiting on the top 5 and more to come down and into the road. There's only about 9 cars left that have not come down to stop, and here comes at least 5 of them now. So the top 5 are in, except for Adam Klein to be in this time by as well.
Yeah, just a couple more drivers having to come down pit road. Most of the field has come down, take their first pit stop. Expecting one more where they're just going to have to take a little bit of a splash of fuel, but still a couple guys just staying out. But actually, Josh Freed has now come down. He's actually coming out of pit road right now as Alexander Hammonds has reassumed the race lead, reassumed that 10-second gap. Austin Tucker not too far behind Josh Freed in that 3rd place position, and Bueller doing a really good job moving up into 4th place. He had to come from the back of the pack, starting well behind most of these guys, working his way up into the 4th place position in that 58 car.
And Hammonds, remember, is an M-class driver, right? The pro drivers are highlighted in green. Those are supposed to be the fastest, right? Those are the guys we were expecting to duke it out for the big championship. But Hammonds and Freed are really showing their mettle here, running 1-2 at the moment in the AM class. One of them by over almost 13 seconds now from the first pro class driver of Austin Tucker. And that means, by the way, that Hammonds will get he'll get the race win points overall from both classes. Tucker, even though he's winning in pro class, he only gets 3rd place points because it's scored through overall, not through individual class.
I'm really going to have to get a look at these points with the words in front of me, because whenever you speak it out to me, it just goes right over my head. But I've got to say, you talking about Hammonds and Freed, with the blue bars, them being, not in the pro level of the series at this point. I think it's a big statement to the difference it takes to drive all different kinds of cars on iRacing, and how you can be so good in one car and so in another car. I mean, Josh Freed, for instance, as we see the 96 around, Josh Freed didn't light the world on fire in the FR 500S last year, the Ford Mustang. But this year, running P2, and he's been consistently the 2nd fastest guy on track the entire night. Maybe he'll get under fire from Austin Tucker here pretty soon, but last year I was not looking at Josh Freed every single week, but now in the late model, he might be one of the guys to beat. And obviously Hammonds having a 10-second gap. We're going to have to look at him under a different lens for the rest of the season.
It'll be an interesting ride to see how this is all going to take part. Sean Bradley, Tyler Carlton, Eric Ronenberg running 1, 2, and 3 in the battles for 7th through 9th. Closest or furthest battle up on the racetrack, and we are effectively at halfway. We are a half hour deep into this race, 25 minutes to go, so we are past that halfway point without a yellow flag. It's at this point where you now start to wonder, are we going to get one? It is possible that we don't get a caution, but we're talking like a 2% chance of that happening. That said, it did happen once last year.
That is true. It did happen once, didn't it? But that makes me think it's not going to happen this year, because we need to go through 50 races before that 2% chance hits again. That's not how odds work, by the way, but in my mind, that's kind of what I'm thinking, right? If I'm at the roulette table, I'm not putting my my chips on no caution at this point, because we just had it about 10 races ago.
It's always a possibility. It's one of those things where it doesn't happen often, but it can indeed happen. And hey, I'd be fine with it not happening in the season opener, right? I mean, this is a great time for these guys to just kind of figure things out and really actually race together in the biggest field you might have all season long. 46 cars. That, I think, is about on par with the biggest fields we were having from the last season as well, when we were racing not just at Daytona, but correct if I'm wrong, I believe Tsukuba was the other track that had 5 heats.
Lime Rock.
Lime Rock. Was it Lime Rock?
I believe so. I think we had like 41 or 43 or somewhere around there for Lime Rock.
It wasn't much.
Yeah, it's not like we were, like solidifying ourselves into 5 heats. It was just barely 5 heats that we were getting. As we see the 017 of Ronenberg coming down, I'm telling you, this is a strategy decision. He's coming down just short fueling. He can make it to the end from here, taking his second pit stop. He's just going to take a splash of gas to get out of pit road.
We'll see how that one's going to pan on out as we continue racing action here from the Great Daytona Beer Run. This race, by the way, sponsored by Chris Hannigan himself. All the drivers have been given the opportunity to sponsor a race, and if they cover the race costs, well, that gives them the free ability to name the race. So Hannigan stepped up for this one, called this one the Great Daytona Beer Run. And, well, we don't know who's going to call the next race, and the name may very well be decided depending on where we're at. Like the Sakura Stampede that was at Fuji last season.
Yeah, I like that they do that in the league. Kind of cool that we can get some very, very special names. But I would like to point out Eric Ronenberg actually had a black flag, I think, because he just went down pit road and did not pit. Like, he just went straight down pit road.
Oh, that'd be the drive-through, because he's gone off the track.
He must have had 30X.
Yeah, well, he's gone off the track at least 20 times.
You can see that.
We don't know how many times. I don't know how many incident points he has. I know the minimum number at least, which would be the off tracks, because it tracks how many times each driver goes off the circuit. He's been off 20 times, and whoa, hello, the 703 going around him. Anthony Dupuis just in front of him. So Dupuis going to be pretty close to his number as well, because he's up to 21 times off of the circuit. He's not the only one. There's a few drivers that are up into the teens now. Tom Madole's been off 17 times.
Is 40 a DQ?
No, it should just be another. I think the way I understood it, it was just a drive through every 10 after the 30.
Okay. That's not too bad. Yeah. I'm looking at the rules right now. 10 times. Every 10X additional after 30 will trigger an additional drive through. Now, that's a little scary for Ronenberg because he did have to go off track to avoid the spinning car in front of him right there. So he's another X close. Yeah, he's another X closer to getting another one as we see the 44 and the 19. Alex Goffard in the 19, trying to get around Agostino for that 11th place position. Not quite able to do it. Agostino able to hold on to it as Goffard looking to the outside, down into the hairpin of turn 3. A little bit of door contact entering the corner. A little bit more door contact through the center. Goffard, oh man, opposite lock all the way to the left. Got a little loose coming out of turn 3. Able to hold on to it, but not able to hold on to the position. Alex Goffard back to 12th.
A lot of wheel work going on to that 19 car as he's trying to chase after Tyler Agostino, and this is what it looks like inside a late model stock, getting that first-person view as he is really trying to hound Agostino at the moment, but I don't think he's going to quite be able to get him here this time in the infield as Agostino's starting to pull away.
Offers a short one. My goodness. Barely see over that wheel.
I think we got a chest camera there, not quite the helmet camera.
He's got a GoPro strapped to his chest.
I mean, hey, it's been done.
It probably hurt, though. I mean, goodness gracious, could you imagine? Never mind, I'm not going to say anything about that. Well, anyway. The 14 going around through the infield. Couldn't tell you what turn this happened in. The 14 trying to get back on the track.
Turn 3.
Coco Pebbles. Kind of a weird one. I don't know if we've seen anybody we've seen people get loose out of turn 3. We just saw Alex Goffard turning to the left coming out of that corner. But I don't know if we've seen anybody just loop it around. A little bit of a lazy spin coming out of the corner, but a little bit of a battle here between Sean Bradley, Giovanni Romano. Romano finally finding his way up towards the front of this field. I feel like this is probably the longest that it's taken him to get from the back to the front. If you look at last year and now this race as well to start out the season, up to the 7th place position. But man, he's got 24 seconds he's got to make up. I don't think he's got a chance in the world to be able to do that unless the caution comes out. Looking back further though, Goffard. Goffard trying to still get that position away from the 44.
And he is still chasing that car big time as well, trying to make something happen as he is really kind of giving the beans right now to the 44 car. Roddenworth Corey Barrett, he's got a front row seat to this battle. I mean, look at Goffard just up the road. He is really going at it right now with Agostino, just not letting that 44 car breathe. And he might go for the bumper here. He's going to lock it up, and he's going to throw it away. Goffard spins it out into turn 4.
I get it. I get the frustration. You've just been trying to get by this guy for so many laps, but I just feel like turn 4 is just not the place to do it. And it seems like it's one of the most difficult corners. Man, Ronenberg sliding around turn number 5 as Clank was going through the corner, or trying to get back on the racetrack, and he just threw it right around him, able to hold on to it. I believe that's Clank going around after Goffard already had. He's going to have to get that thing ripped around real quick. We just about saw a big incident between him and Ronenberg coming through turn 5.
Checking back into the battle for 6. It's now the only battle that's actually under 0.2 of a second. The field really spreading out around the racetrack. And for credit where credit's due, we've still got almost the entire pack on the lead lap. I think we've got 38 of the 46 cars still on the lead lap. It's a big racetrack. And it's a long way to go, so we're not going to really be seeing lap traffic ever becoming too much of a factor in this race. A lot of the battles that you see on the screen, it's only between lead lap cars, and lap traffic, I don't think it's ever really going to come into play in any of these fights.
No, I really don't think so either. I mean, this track is just so large. It's hard for it to happen. Last year, I remember the, what was the racetrack's name? I've never ran it. Is it like Oran Park? Where did we start out the season last year?
Oran Park, you are correct.
Yeah, Oran Park, okay. I mean, that track was really tiny, and just the entire thing was so narrow.
There were a lot of small tracks last season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just thinking season openers. But we just had so many incidents on that, and then the race for the win really came down to lap traffic. Like you said, I don't think it's happening this year. It's just Daytona is a really long circuit. Tough to kind of get to that point, even with Hammond's pulling out a 10-second gap. Typically, you'd think he may be catching the back end of the pack, but no, not really. The only guy that he's got any chance of catching right now is Todd Madole, who is 1 minute and 42 seconds behind him. The next couple cars in front of him are all 5 seconds ahead of Madole.
Josh Freed and Austin Tucker here, both kind of in the same place as, whoa, boy, this is a big battle for the second spot here. Oh, and there it was.
Oh.
Kind of getting punted around, and it looked to me like the 243 just kind of backed off to let Freed recover there.
Kind of tough, though, because both these guys were running down our race leader. With 17 minutes left, you thought maybe, just maybe there was a chance. I mean, they cut it down to just about 8 seconds. They lost about 2.5 on that.
There's still 17 minutes left. It's not over.
There is still, yeah, but you got to, man, it's going to be heartbreaking if they cut that gap all the way down to about 2 seconds, and then this thing, hits the checkered flag, because they're going to know, hey, if we just didn't have that little bit of contact, we could have been right there at the end of this thing. They're still running down our race leader even after the contact. Hammond's starting to struggle a little bit. Actually, I'm watching it through turn 1 right now. He got crazy loose going through turn 1. Going to give up a little bit of time again to Josh Freed.
We talked about lap traffic potentially not playing too much of a role here in this race, but it will be playing a big role in Saturday morning's race where the VSCA Sports Car Championship kicks off its racing action for the Roar Tour before the 24. 4 different classes, 4 different types of cars. You'll have you'll have GTPs, LMP2s, GT Pro, and GTM. Our first caution has just flown on the racetrack. But the VSCA Sports Car Championship kicks off action this Saturday morning on January 13th. The LTAC All-Street Media Cup Series will make its return to Pocono at 9 o'clock p.m. on Friday, and then back to Monday, where the High Type Racing League MF Racing Designs Cup Series will swing down to Fort Worth, Texas at 9:10 Eastern for what could be a very exciting Monday night as well. But hey, Saturday morning races, it's not something I say all that often. It'll be a nice kind of change of pace to be waking up to some races instead of having to wait for the evening. But caution flag number 1, 6 minutes shy of when that would be cut.
Surprised that it took so long, but hey, that just means that we get everybody jumbled back up at the end of this thing. And we started seeing Josh Freed and Austin Tucker starting to figure this thing out, while Alexander Hammonds was starting to lose the handle on that 26. So I'd be a little bit worried here if I was Hammonds. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of these guys coming down and take tires, but a lot of guys might just take a splash of gas and throw a little bit of a wrench in the strategy of this one. Coming to probably, 8-9 minutes to go whenever we go green?
Well, remember, a few drivers, they came down just a few minutes before that caution came out. They'll be cycled up towards the front now.
Big strategy change here because of that. Huge strategy call from a lot of those guys. Going to have to wait a minute just to see exactly who it was that came down and get confirmation on all the guys that had done it. But my goodness, that could really throw a huge wrench into this. And if Alexander Hammonds, Josh Freed, and Austin Tucker get trapped back in about the 10th, 15th place spot, man, we're going to get a great finish seeing those guys trying to come through the field.
Well, caution is down for the first time tonight. 15 minutes left to go in the season opener of the Great Daytona Beer Run, sponsored by Chris Hannigan. We're going to take a step back. You're watching the Beer League on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Beer League. We are getting set to go back to green flag racing. We will have less than 8 minutes to go. That is less than 5 laps of racing action. Holy cow, Austin, it's about to get wild.
Yeah, honestly, it's anybody's best bet. We've got a lot of people who started in the back who, it seems like it's just harder passing these cars than it was last season. A lot of guys that started in the back that have finally worked their way up kind of towards the front that we need to really pay attention to. Alexander Buehler has started in 19th. He is up to 4th place. Gets this caution. Gets to get grouped back up to with everybody. We know Buehler's fast. He may have a chance. Giovanni Romano sitting in that 6th place position. Last year's champion. He started in 44th. He has worked his way all the way up to 6th place. That caution saved him. Gives him a chance to maybe win this race. A couple other kind of notable contenders from the back. Started 36. Now running 14th. That is going to be Alexander Klank, and then 46 running 15th, Eric Ronenberg. Both those guys now with a chance to finish in the top 10.
Hammond still leads the race, but his 12-second gap has been completely obliterated with this safety car. 7 minutes on the clock. Buckle your belts. This is where it gets wild as the pace car will make that sharp left-hand turn down and into pit road. As the 26 enters the restart zone, takes off. We're back to green.
A little bit of issues towards the back. I think that's Eric Ronenberg getting rear-ended when he definitely does not hit 4X. He's going to be so close to that last drive-through. Big gaggle of cars back in about 10th place, but Alexander Hammond's going to float it into turn 1 easily into lead. But Josh Freed trying to get up to his back bumper before they get down to turn 3.
A lot of cars siphoning their way through this racetrack as they go 3 wide again, all the way down to turn 1, but again, no problems in the opening corner. These guys have been very, very respectful in turn 1 here this time by. Turn 3, something to be desired as, oh boy, that's a rejoin and a half from Hannigan as the 22 Darren by will get punted off in response, unintentionally, of course. How about the 013 to the inside of the 45 as we're double file up here in a section that's not meant for double file.
Yeah, just not enough time to single file it out before they get down there, but everybody through 4 and 5 really well, to be honest. Corey Barrett now looking at the inside, I believe, of the 44. Wow, I spoke too soon. Jeremy Castro up on 2 wheels on top of the 97. Cannot go anywhere. Jeremy Castro's got nothing.
He's trying to push through him. The 97 car.
No, Castro, no!
Oh, dear, wrong way. Rocket left and right. You'll get it there eventually.
GTA 5, just hold
He's
the
trying
analog
to.
stick
You
to
can
the
see him
left.
trying to do it.
Just hold the analog stick left. You'll get it flipped over eventually.
Oh, no. I think he's going to be forced to take the toe on that one. That is unfortunate, to put it mildly. Take a look back at this one as this was working through turn 4.
Who's in the 97? He could have backed up, man. Adam Jackson could have backed up, but he booked a minute and drove through. He could have done him a favor, man. He could have.
He's trying to back up, too. That's the funniest thing. Like, he's trying to just push through, and Cass was trying to drive off of him. And
they're hooked together in some weird way.
The worst part is Adam Jackson towed immediately after that.
He timed it perfect to flip him over on his lid. Poor Castro, but we're going to have to pay attention a little bit further up towards the front of the field where we're still racing. Going down into turn 3. Man, I can't tell what number's supposed to be on that Pizza Hut car, but my goodness, he's right. John Combs right in front of Giovanni Romano. But man, Romano is just about bump drafting him down the infield. Typically does not work for the road course at Daytona, but just trying to find a way around the Pizza Hut machine at the 32, and John Combs just not quite there yet. The door's not quite open for the 99.
John Combs, a part of the new team coming into this one, the Pizza Dog. There's been a bit of a shake-up in the names, and in fact, almost a complete shake-up. In fact, the only ones that are still lifting, that are still existing from the last season are Flying Donuts and Serial Team 6. Otherwise, you got a lot of drivers that have opted for new team names with, of course, that brand new with the little draft that they had. You've got Ron Wolf, Romano, Smith, Saletta, El Cesar, and Fisher in 1. You've got the Ella Mellons with the Tucker, Thacker, By, Harrison, Ronenberg, and Hammond. Team TMNT, which is self-explanatory. Team Cheese, a bunch of cheese logos on those cars. The Lifting Coasters, I think those are coffee shops, headed up by Morgan Otto, Sean Bradley, Derek Husted, Brian LeBlanc, Steve Bauer, and Shane Cameron. And then the Misfits, the one that didn't get chosen in the draft, headed up by Ken Rea, Jonathan Lane, Tyler Hovanek, Alexander Buehler, and Jay DeVries himself.
something tells me you just enjoy going through the entire grid of this league every time you get the opportunity.
They got fun names to say. What can I say?
That's fair, and their team names are fun too. You know, Serial Team 6. I'm so happy they're back. I mean, that's my favorite. That's my favorite team, man. I love that name.
Oh,
but
whoa, hello. Look out. Oh, that's going to be trouble.
Oh, Ronenberg again, man. He's got to have another drive-through at this point.
And Thacker as well. They're both going to tumble down through this field as a good chunk of drivers siphon their way through to the point. And Gretchen's kicking off here, and there's another one. The 95 punted by Cofford, and that's going to send Brian LeBlanc around.
I mean, LeBlanc had absolutely no chance. Alex Cofford just drove in there without a care in the world and jacked up the rear end of the 95. Didn't even give him a chance, but Alex Cofford stays on the racetrack. It's Chris Bright looking at the inside there, going down to the turn 4. And now looking at Josh Reed in second. Chris Hannigan, Chris Bright, multiple drivers involved through 4 and 5. Oh, man, the 9 gets a little bit of a tap there as Chris Bright rips this thing back around through the grass. Gonna have to get back on track. We're gonna have to take a look at what happened here. Chris Hannigan in the 4, looking at the inside of the 54. Down to turn 4. Oh, just a little bit of a wheel hop getting down to the turn. Well, I should say a lot of a wheel hop getting down to the turn 4, and not really anywhere for anybody to go. Chris Bright now trying to recover here through 6 and 7. As we see the 96 kind of floating off the racetrack there. Oh, man, bad rejoin once again. Just turns to 14. Graham Jordan just got absolutely chunked through the infield on that rejoin. A little tough there from Graham as the 96 got on the brakes hard to avoid Alex Cofford. Did a good job avoiding him. Well, I wouldn't say good job. I guess he did spin out the shade of breeze, but then that's a scary rejoin there, taking out the 14. I've seen a couple of those tonight, but hey, season opener, you expect to see that as John Combs gets absolutely murdered going down into turn 1 by Giovanni Romano. My goodness, hard head first into the wall. John Combs going to lose multiple positions back to P10 as Josh Reed's trying to hold on to that second spot away from the 243 of Austin Tucker. Don't look now, Alexander Bueller up to the back bumper of Tucker going into 4.
I gotta say, I kind of put that on Romano there on that. Sorry, I'm kind of putting that on John Combs on that. I mean, Romano was there, and Combs just pushed him off the racetrack. That's one of those things. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, as he got sent face first into the lead tire barriers. Hammond still leads by just under 3 seconds. We're going to be, punting around. Will go Austin Tucker, and I do think this is going to be the final lap this time by.
Man, we've just had a multiple incidents on the last lap. Just kind of a little bit of lazy accidents, to be honest. I just kind of feel bad for a couple of these guys getting spun out in the late going, losing positions, losing valuable points. But I got to say, you're right. With 15 seconds left, the race leader going down into the bus stop chicane right now. This is probably going to be the last lap, the last circuit around here in Daytona.
Checking in on one of these last battles as they work their way back onto the main section of the racetrack, and the 816 of Aaron Thacker spun round again. And that's coming back onto the oval. Meanwhile, Alexander Hammond's working his way up and around. He has dominated the race here tonight, and he is going to come home and put together the checkered flag, and he'll send his way to victory lane for race number 1. Great effort there. Now the question is, will we have any changes in position coming off of the final corner?
Yeah, coming to the line. The 45 trying to hold on away from the Geno's machine in the 6. Able to hold on. Carlson able to hold on from Morton. Further back, McClendon able to take that position from Agostino at the line. Great drag race down to the stripe. Now the 13 trying to get past Adam Mailhot. It's on the dole on the inside. Mailhot on the outside. Mailhot's going to keep the position. That's 18th. Oh, man. Fire impact getting on the start-finish line. El Cesar for 20th. Holds on to the place, but gets his car absolutely destroyed in the meantime.
Last drag race on the racetrack, Ethan Condi v. Alex Cofford. Cofford, who was on the podium, he will not be there tonight. He's going to try to pick off 31st. Looks for the inside. Condi up on top, but it will be Ethan Condi to hang on for 32nd.
Oh, boy. That was a pretty good season opener for the Beer League, I got to say. I mean, I just love it after they finish these races, man. I love it. I just cannot. I don't know what it is about seeing these cars, or people just absolutely stop caring as soon as the checkered flag flies and them flying off the racetrack, but I absolutely love it.
Well, that was a very wild way to kind of close out racing action here tonight, as this pack is going to just get itself sorted. We are just now waiting on the last few drivers to come across the start-finish stretch this time by. There's a few stragglers at the tail end.
Yeah, still a couple guys trying to finish this thing out, but going to get it figured out here pretty soon, and then we're going to start our interviews, make sure we talk to our top 3. Can't wait to kind of talk to Alexander Hammonds and figure out exactly what was going on behind the wheel for him all night.
Figure out who the last car is that we're trying to. If it's Harrison, I swear. Well, it's not Beckman. Is it Cameron? Who's the last car? We're waiting on one car, I think, that has not crossed the start-finish line yet. And well, whoever it was, they just crossed the start-finish line. So let's take a rundown of your official post-race results here tonight. Alexander Hammonds will take that victory. He wins the AM class tonight. 2.8 seconds clear of Josh Freed. Alexander Bueller will be picking up that number 3 spot. He wins in the pro class. Giovanni Romano will be in the number 4 spot. Alexander Clegg was in 5th. Austin Tucker 6th. Tyler Carlton 7th. Baron Morton recovers to a quiet 8th place. Kyle Smith and John Combs round out the top 10.
Corey Barrett brings it home 11th. Steve McClendon 12th. Tyler Agostino, Adam Klein, Jordan Babcock, Jonathan Lane, Jason Lee, Adam Mailhot, Todd Madole, and Sean Bradley round out your top 20. 21st is going to be Brian LeBlanc. 22nd, Evan Campbell. 23rd, Darren Bailly, Matthew Dupuis, Eric Ronenberg, Chris Hannigan, Brooks Clayton, Tyler Vietnan, Jay DeVries, and Chris Bright round out the top 30.
Continuing on down
through 40th.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, I was going to take it from you because I know your voice is hurting a little bit, but 31st is going to be Tanner Klein, then Tyler Elsesser. Didn't he finish in 20th, wrecking across the line? Oh, my goodness, he must have hit that 30 incident point limit, falling back to 32nd. Tyler Elsesser on that last lap. 33rd, Aaron Thacker, Shane Cameron, Ethan Condi, Graham Jordan, Alex Crawford, my pick, finishing 37th. Greg Beckman, 38th. Alex Harrison, 39th. Jeremy Castro, 40th. Now, rounding out the 46-car field, our last 6 drivers, Blake Gambrill, Morgan Otto, Adam Jackson, Jonathan LeFeber, Mac Verstupin, and Steve Turnbull.
Well, a very wild race then here tonight to close out racing action. We will get the chance to speak to everybody here at the end of this one, and we'll, of course, kick things off with Alexander Hammonds, the driver that was the one who came home. He took victory here tonight, as we'll try to get in touch with your race winner here. And, Austin, you're standing by with number 1.
Alexander, what a great performance from you tonight. I mean, it looked like in the early going, you were just a little bit quicker than Josh Freed. Freed made that little bit of a mistake. You were able to get by, and you did not look back the rest of the night, even with that late caution to bring everybody back up to your rear windshield. What were you thinking after that caution came out? Did you think you still had that thing won, or were you kind of kicking yourself thinking, man, everybody's got a chance again?
Oh, I was very thankful that caution came out. It was going to be a fuel mileage race if that hadn't come out, and I think I was going to be about a lap short, and Freed said he had the fuel to make it, so that caution kind of made the difference there in the race.
Oh, wow. We were definitely caught off guard by that. I thought we were going to have another caution at some point, or another pit stop at some point, but crazy that you were 1 lap short. Awesome that you got saved by that. Congratulations on coming home with a race victory also in the season opener. Kind of a big step, not being in the, the pro points or whatever we're calling it for a lot of these guys, but, able to come home the race winner tonight. What does that kind of say about your speed you got in this late model stock in the first race here? Obviously, we had the preseason race last week, but really showing a lot of speed here in the new car this year.
Oh, I sure hope I can give him a challenge. I think I'm on top. Well, I would assume I must be on top of the overall standings right now. So who knows? Maybe I can give him a challenge, the AM and the pro drivers.
Were you kind of surprised to come in here tonight and be so quick? And, I mean, you built up a 10-second gap at one point. Did you really think you were going to come in here tonight and be able to put on that good of a showing and honestly kind of spank the field?
Oh, not at all. I knew we had some guys fast that, started back in the back trying to get that extra bonus point for the most positions gained, like, Gio and Eric. But, man, I guess they got hung up in the field or something. Just allowed me to pull away with it.
Well, congratulations on your win in the season opener, setting yourself up nicely for the rest of the season, and maybe even giving yourself a chance at the championship here in the later going. So just big congratulations for you here tonight.
Thank you. I'll keep trying to try to keep building this momentum going forward.
Well, good luck, and we hope to talk to you again later on in the season. That was our race winner, Alexander Hammonds. Probably not the last time we're going to talk to him this season. Next up, we're going to pull up our second-place finisher of Josh Freed, our closest competitor to Alex all night, who just could not quite stick with him over the long runs. We're going to pull him up right now. Josh Freed, do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, Josh, a little unfortunate for you here tonight. I mean, I say unfortunate. You finished P2, and you showed a lot more speed here tonight than we got used to seeing last year. No hate on you for last year, but hey, big improvement year over year here in this car. Is it just kind of a car difference? Do you like this car a lot more than you liked the Ford Mustang last season, or is there just something about this track that kind of clicked with you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I have some pace in this car. I'm not exactly sure where it came from, though. But yeah, I do like it.
We saw you early in the race. You know, obviously you sat on the pole here tonight. Made an early mistake and gave up that lead. Did you think you still had a chance, though? Because we learned from Alexander Hammonds that we were actually watching a fuel mileage race there during that second stint. And you might have had enough gas. Were you kicking yourself whenever that caution came out?
Yeah, the caution hurt. I definitely could have made it. I think I could have won. But really, once it was a straight race, Alexander, he was just a little too quick for me. So, yeah, the caution hurt, though.
Well, still congrats on the P2. And, you know, like I mentioned, coming up here and finishing on the podium, showing this much speed in week one, really, really impressive. You know, are you kind of, if it was me, I'd be a little bit more looking forward to the rest of the season after coming on and showing so much speed here. Is that kind of what you're feeling? Maybe you got a chance for the championship?
I definitely am, yeah. Yeah, last year I was on the Chicken Runners and we lost the championship by 3 points, and that hurt. So I'm here for revenge.
Well, congratulations. I'm going to be looking forward to watching the revenge here going forward. Still got a long season ahead of us, and we're definitely going to be looking forward to talking to you more in the future, as it looks like you found a lot of speed in the in that 3 machine this year. So congratulations on the P2 finish, and can't wait to talk to you again.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
No problem. That was our P2 finisher of Josh Freed. Next up, we're going to try to get our 3rd place finisher. Kind of looking for Alexander Bueller in the chat.
I don't think we're going to get a hold of him. He's been a bit absent over the last few minutes or so.
Okay, well, I do not see him anywhere, so I think that's going to be it. But that was our top 2 finishers, Alexander Hammonds, Josh Freed. Congratulations to both those guys, and congratulations to Alexander Bueller coming home in that P3 finish, running down, or starting in 19th, being able to come through with that really, really good finish as we round out our season opener here in the Beer League.
Boy, it was a crazy race we've had for us here tonight, and of course, there's still a lot more action to come. We've called this Daytona week for a reason. Before we swing back down to the Sunshine State, we'll be swinging out to Pocono, to the Pocono Raceway, where the LTAC All Street Media Cup Series gets set to tackle the tricky triangle with just 2 more weeks of racing left before they enter chase season. The VSCA Sports Car Championship kicks off with their qualifying race, the Roar Before the 24. 1 hour and 40 minutes of racing action will set the stage for what the field's going to look like for the Daytona 24. Coming on up, that'll be next Saturday, rolling all the way through Sunday. And then, of course, the High Tide Racing League Emerald Racing Designs Cup Series has round 2 of the round of 8. That'll be down at the Texas Motor Speedway at 9:10 p.m. Eastern on Monday night. That's all we're going to have time for one night here, though. Once again, thank you all so much for coming on out to join us here on Green Flag TV. My name is Benola Rempel, alongside Austin Edstrom. You've been watching the Beer League. It's good to be back. We'll see you all next week when we go racing on Wednesday night.